Neopian lore, what we got in store. Talking about the things that we love and adore. We're all over 20, right? We stay indoors and play this game. And love this game. Sometimes hate this game. But let's all talk about Neopian lore. Yeah! Woohoo!
Welcome to episode 7 of Neopian Lore. In honor of the Neopets cookbook coming out in a few months, we're going to cover the most influential chef in Neopia, the Soup Faerie. I'm sorry, underwater chef, Juita, and whoever runs the kelp restaurant. This kind-hearted fairy manages to rock red, yellow, pink, and blue, colors that shouldn't work together but somehow do on her. She truly is the embodiment of the 90s aesthetic. Now, I'm going to start the argument that she does way more for Neopians than Queen Faerie. She helps the working class get back on their feet while being a public figure. Faerie hides away in her tower, hidden tower, selling items way out of most Neopians' budgets. But it's fine, because once a month she offers a whopping 3% discount. Anyway, I'm your host, Krista Poyman. I'll try to be as accurate as possible throughout the episode and attempt to pronounce all names correctly, but keep in mind this world is fictional, and this is all just for fun. Now, let's cozy up to some nostalgia. The most humble of all the fairies, the Soup Faerie is known throughout Neopia for her generosity and kindness. With a magical cauldron always full to the brim with a warm meal, she makes sure no residents of Neopia will ever go hungry. The pets waiting outside her small home in the Neopian marketplace often form a long line, as new residents are always appearing in Neopia. Once they get a warm bowl of soup and a reassuring kiss on the forehead from the kind fairy, they sit on the grassy, rolling hills and eat their fill. Remember, the Soup Faerie knows how much is in your bank and your shop till. Smiley face. And she does check if you're lying or not. The only way you can get away with eating from her pot with more Neopoints is if they're invested in the stock market, tied up at the trading post or auctions, or if you feed your pets on a side account. But don't cheat the system unless you need the avatar. She's too kind for that. The avatar is awarded randomly when you feed your pet from the soup kitchen. What I've never understood about the avatar's art is that the Soup Faerie's eyes, whites, irises, and pupils are entirely blue. It's very alien-like or Krelidor-like to me. When you visit the soup kitchen, you can actually choose the soup you wish to feed your pets. They will then give you a cute little response like, potato and leek, you're the best.
Turnip broth, that's my favorite kind, smiley face.
Yum, yum. Lamb broth rules! Sometimes, though, your pets will be sassy, saying things like, ew, asparagus and chutney soup isn't that nice. Or, well, I really wanted minestrone, but that will do. I swear, if any of my pets disrespect the true queen of Neopia, I will drag them out by the ear so fast, and if they ever say, this vegetable soup is nice, but why is there a lump of dung floating in it? It's not dung, Bellaroo, it's protein. Get over it and don't be rude. An owner may notice that their bank account is dry because the Neopian inflation is higher than the clouds in fairyland, leaving them no other choice but to make their pets wait in line while they go out and try to make a few Neopoints. And for the pets that have it real bad, well, they are given a warm bed until they are ready to brave Neopia. Now, what we think of as the soup kitchen arose during the Great Depression in 1929, a period of national poverty due to the stock market crash in the United States. Thank goodness the Neopet stock market doesn't affect us in the same way. The Great Depression hit major cities especially hard, and many soup kitchens popped up throughout the U.S., some even providing housing. And guess who made one of the first ones in Chicago? A mysterious benefactor rented out a storefront in South State Street, the sign above saying, free soup, coffee, and donuts for the unemployed. Newspapers quickly learned it was none other than mobster Al Capone, nickname Scarface, who at the time was known as public enemy number 1. Capone's soup kitchen served 3 meals a day to an average of 2,200 Chicagoans. No one was ever denied seconds, and the soup kitchen was bustling during the holidays. Authorities were absolutely mortified. In April of 1931, the soup kitchen closed due to the economy picking up. Capone claimed on trial that regardless of his verdict, the kitchen would reopen, but it never did. It's early in the morning. The sun isn't even awake yet, but the Soup Faerie is. She's stirring the pot, adding this and that, getting ready for a long line outside her little cottage. The canisters on her shelves have no labels. All the ingredients are a secret. Nobody stirs the pot but her. Of course, it isn't just any old ordinary cast iron pot. Like they say in Fairyland, everything is magical, even the dirty dishwater. She pulls out the big wooden spoon, she never uses a metal one, and gives it a taste. Her face lingers for a moment, eyes closed, as she considers. Then she reaches to those canisters on the wall, pulls one down, and adds just a touch of something that smells like it could be a little asparagus or maybe something a bit more exotic. It's always tough to tell. Now we need to talk real quick about a controversial topic. This has the same energy as the "is a hot dog a sandwich" debate, so if that riles you up, I suggest muting for a few moments. The question is, what defines a soup? Is it just a thick liquid? If so, we can knock out beverages like soda and juice, but milkshakes and smoothies are thick enough to fit the bill. How about being a warm, thick liquid? Well, chilled cucumber soup and sweet corn gazpacho would like a word with you. Must it be savory? And here we have Scandinavian sweet soup and watermelon gazpacho. So at this point, the only difference I see between a milkshake, smoothie, and soup is the fact that it's served in a bowl with a spoon. And if you receive a Soup Faerie quest, guess what she asks for? No, not soup, but smoothies. Yep, that's right, a smoothie. So if she poured it into a bowl, added a spoon, is it now soup? Regardless of what you feel on the topic, do her quest. You get a +2 to 2 of your active pet's stats, and all of the smoothies are a rarity of 69 and under. It's a wicked deal. Something is a bit strange about the Soup Faerie's cauldron, evident by some of her quest quotes. Superb, that, insert item here, should appease even this cauldron's bottomless stomach. The spoon is stirring so fast that I can't even sneak a taste. Could you bring me, insert item here, so that I can bring this madness to an end? How can my cauldron be this hungry? Oh, my friend, this odd new cauldron keeps eating my soup before I can finish it. Can you find me, insert item here, please? Does she have a sentient cauldron? Perhaps it's an unreleased Halloween cofferling, posing as a cauldron instead of a treasure chest. It must be a daunting task to appease a cauldron while also serving others. That does bring up the question of sanitation, though, as a human's mouth produces around 20 billion bacteria every 5 hours. Animals not much different, though their mouths contain different bacteria. Nope, gross. It's not a pet, nix that theory. Carry on. My personal favorite Soup Faerie quest response is the following. Finally, I've been waiting forever to have a taste. Needs salt. I just love the build-up and how it's shattered in an instant. Her honesty is highly respected. Looking at the Soup Faerie's Neopedia page, the way it ends is a bit strange. A few more minutes of simmering and the soup will be ready. She puts the top back on the pot and wipes her hands on her apron. Then she turns to peek out the door. A line has already started and reaches back as far as she can see. A little smile curls on her lips. Almost, she says, almost ready. She turns back to the pot. The pot! The spot where it rested, now an empty space. The smell of the soup still lingers in the air, but the pot is gone. She turns around to every corner of her cottage, looking for any sign of an intruder, any sign of the pot. Nothing. Gone. Lost. She's collapsed on the hardwood floor, listening to their voices outside. The hungry pet's waiting for her to open her door. She shakes her head slowly, keeping the tears from escaping. Then, slowly, she rubs her hands on her apron, lifts herself to her feet, and walks to the door. And that's it. That's the conclusion. Perhaps the Pant Devil took it? I think she could throw down against him. TNT did address the Neopedia article in an editorial. Quote, Wow, I have no idea why the article ends like that. It must have been some old plot we were running. We will either write a new one or remove that one to avoid any more confusion. Spoiler alert, it's yet to be updated. Maybe a plot is still in the works? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Seriously, does the Soup Fairy ever get a break? I guess you do see her get one in the game Snowball Fight. You can see her donning an adorable winter attire in the game. But if you have terrible aim and hit her, you do lose 10 snowballs, and rightfully so. Another thing. We know what she does, but we don't know her. A few important things are still elusive about the Soup Fairy. For instance, her true name. I doubt her name is Soup, unless her parents were cruel, or her parents were Campbell and Progresso. It's also not outwardly stated what her true fairy type is. Based on her yellow wings, my guess would be light. But her TCG is an earth type, but that doesn't really feel right to me. But the point is, we should get to know her better, not just what she has to offer. To wrap up, we have a few honorable mentions of Soup Fairy items. The Soup Fairy book. Many Neopians thought the Soup Fairy was underrated, so they all wrote stories about her, and Faerie put them in this nice big book. Okay, so maybe I was wrongfully rude about Queen Faerie. Or maybe it's a ploy to make Faerie look good, appeasing to the Neopians so that they like her better. We also have the item, the Soup Fairy apron. This apron always looks clean no matter what you spill down it. And lastly, the asparagus TCG. The Soup Fairy tells me they're yummy, and fairies are not supposed to lie. Asparagus is wonderful, despite what it may do to your bodily functions afterwards. One last little tidbit is one of the early TNT artists was also named the Soup Fairy, though it's unclear who inspired who for the title. The soup kitchen is kept running by donations from the money tree, so make sure that when you win the Neopian lottery, or when your stocks go sky high and finally you become a successful Neopian, please remember all the hungry pets out there and help the soup kitchen stay open. That's all we have for this episode of Neopian Lore on the philanthropy of the Soup Fairy. All characters and licensing belong to Neopets.com. Music was created by me, Krista. Today's composition is called Terry Soup for the Soul. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day in Neopia.